Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. So as you can see, we are in NIMBY Rails, and this is a new game that was only released yesterday. In this game you have the ability to build railway on the world itself, on a real world map. So it's really exciting to actually, potentially recreate routes that, current train routes, or routes that should have been perhaps. So I'm really excited to get into this and see what we can create. So I guess without further ado, let's create our company. So we're going to call ourselves, I think, UK Rail PLC. Why not? We're not going to start with unlimited money. I want certainly a degree of realism to building up your company, expanding, and not just going crazy from the start. So yeah, as you can see, we're into the world map, so we have the ability to literally build wherever we want. Given that we're going to be called we are called UK Rail PLC, I think you can kind of guess where we're going to initially focus on, but that doesn't stop us perhaps expanding in the future. Who knows? Obviously this is still early access in the game, so I suspect things will progress on and get better over time. But as you can see, we've got the whole of the UK to potentially build all over. And so we could start all the way down in London, all the way up to Newcastle and into Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh, even into the likes of Wales with Swansea, Cardiff and Northern Ireland. We really can start wherever we want. Now, I guess my only concern with perhaps starting in London is that it's quite a built-up city, as you can kind of guess. So it would be pretty expensive to say dump a station in the middle of I don't know, one of these kind of areas and then expect to build railway all the way out. It's going to cost, I think, fair amount of money. But as you can kind of see, if we're looking at Paddington, you can build stations in, I guess, where existing railway stations would be, because they've been removed, and you can obviously see then the path that it would take, which is quite good, because again you can do a bit of replication of the lines you really like. But I think for now, my gut feeling is the likes of Reading would be a great place to start. Now I say that because it's quite a major hub, and it's pretty much located sort of centrally in the map. So we've got then the ability to obviously go into London, go down south to Southampton, or west to Bristol, Cardiff and beyond, and then obviously all the way up north. So I kind of feel like it's a good place to start. So kind of without, I guess, further ado, let's pop in our first station. Now we've obviously got Reading here. I feel like there probably would be a station here somewhere. You can certainly see that's probably where a railway track would live. So I guess for now, let's I think here looks good. It's pretty wide, so we can get plenty of platforms in, so we'll take that for now, and we'll pop it just here. And as you can see, I think we'll make it about 300 meters. Seems a good length, if I can get it spot on. No, that will do. 301. It's near as dams, put it that way. So that's going to be our first station. Let's build it. There we go. It's locked in. I don't want to build another one there. There we go. So where do we go from Reading? I think that's going to be my next conundrum. We're going to get time speeding up. That's fine. So we can either go west to the likes of Swindon, or kind of northwest to Oxford, or south to perhaps Basingstoke. These are all possibilities, I guess. My gut feel would be Swindon first. It's quite significant city, and it would be replicating the Great Western Railway. So I kind of like the idea of that. And then from Reading we could potentially build some branch lines. So let's get straight into it and start building some tracks. So we'll go into the track tool here, and we just grab the plus sign, and as you can see, it will start allowing us to build. So initially, to get out of Reading, I think I'm going to have to zoom in perhaps a touch here. I'm going to follow the railway path, but trying to keep the speed up as high as possible. And so as you can see, I'm just going to work my way along here. Come on, is it going to let me? Yeah, perfect. So that will allow us to go over here, and you see we're kind of wiggling along here. Oh well, that would be the Thames, wouldn't it? I would imagine. And we're going to end up in Swindon. So once we get out of the city, we can start making some bigger leaps. For example, as you can kind of see here. That's not going to like it, so we're going to go just there. We need to kind of work out where the route that we're going to perhaps take. So I kind of like the idea that we go a little bit north, perhaps to Didcot, around here, and then that potentially allows us to have a branch off to go to Didcot, Abington, and then possibly Oxford. That I do like the sound of. Okay, so we'll try and head to around here initially. So we'll keep it going as straight as possible. This is the trouble trying to get across all of these roads. You have to build bridges, as you would expect. We're just going to keep taking it north, and then we're going to gradually start to curve, and then somewhere around here we could have a branch line off in the future. So as you can see, we're making some good progress now. What we probably want to do is trying to work out how we come into Swindon. So let's probably take it a little bit further across just for now. So let's try and get across here. Currently we've got 30 overpasses, which is it's not insignificant, mate. Going south of Wantage. And yeah, okay, so I think we'll just go into Swindon for now, and we'll look to perhaps pop in a station somewhere. I'm not too sure. I mean, that would be quite cool to put it in the Steam Museum of Great Western Railway, so I think that's a great place to pop a station in. So we're going to put it straight here. We're going to go for another 300-meter station, I think. Yep, just there. Okay, so now we've got something to aim for, but you can also see there is a clear path as to where the railway would go. So we're going to use that, certainly to start with, because that will be a great... Let's try and keep this... Don't want to build an overpass there if I can help it. And let's keep this going, which is great. So yeah, we'll come out of Swindon this way. Ooh, I mean, that works. And where does that kind of take us? Okay, so we do need to come a little south once we get out of this point here. So we'll come to about... Oh, this is an expensive piece of track there. Yeah, we do need to start taking a turn. I'll take it. Come on, allow me to go straight. I think we're going to possibly need to viaduct this instead of just going all above ground. So let's go to the viaduct, and that will allow us to get over here, and we'll switch back to ground now, and that should, yeah, there we go. We should now be able to head, we'll try and head south as much as possible if it's going to allow us. Oh, we're going to head right through here. Never mind. That's. Oh yeah, that will. Come on, allow us. No, what's it not liking here? Heck, I'm gonna stop it here. I'm gonna have to viaduct it. I need to get back to the ground, and then we'll just boom. So we have got, hey, look at that. So as you can see, we've got Reading here, and you can see the route goes up north slightly along here, which then allows us for a connection to Didcot along here, and then brings us into Swindon that way. I do like that as our first route, and if we just look at the blueprint bill, it's going to cost us best part of $186 million. Obviously we start off with $1 billion, so that's good. We've got one station at 10 million. We've got 66 overpasses, so 66 bridges, a cool 66 million. So you can see where a lot of it is going, and then just 1.3 kilometers of viaducts is 11 million. So that's why we use viaduct very sparingly if we can obviously try and avoid it where we can. So absolutely, let's get this built. So we've got our first line now. So to set up the line, you go into this into the lines tab. Funny enough, you hit the create line down here on the bottom. You want to go to add stops, and we're going to have our first one here at Reading, and we're going to go west, and we're going to keep going west until we find our station, and we're going to hit on the B to go backwards. So as you can see, it basically goes along, turns around, and then goes all the way back to Reading and starts its journey all over again. Now we get to rename this line. So I think naturally for now we're going to be the Great Western Railway, seeing as that's effectively what we're doing, and we're going to call it the GWR. We'll come back to the pricing, and I think we're going to make this one dark green, as I think the livery of the Great Western Railway trains are currently that colour. So that's our line set up. The next thing we need to do is obviously buy a train. So as you'll see in here, we've got a real mixture of trains. Now it's probably worth noting that we've got, as you can see, some British Rail class locos in here. Now you can download these mods off the Steam Workshop, and I kind of highly recommend you do, because it does give you a much greater variety, because at the outset you really don't start with many locos, so it really does help you add some variety to pick the right train for the right route. Now obviously here we're on the Great Western Railway. We do have an Intercity 225 available, which is kind of gonna it feels like that's going to probably be the most appropriate at the moment, and we just got to decide kind of how many carriages we want to go for. We can go all the way up to 10, and that will carry 720 passengers. Now I don't feel that's that silly actually for the Great Western Railway. It's probably going to get busy over time as we start to expand. In terms of the number of units, I think we'll have 2 of them for now, so you know, passing one another each way. And base colour, I think we'll have the base colour as white, and then we'll pick the decal. I don't know if I thought we could change the decal. I think that might be dictated by what route it's on. So let's purchase them. Yeah, so once we can hit here, which will assign it across from a timetable perspective all across the week 24/7, which for now we'll start with, but over time I would be quite keen to kind of alter it, and you know, during the middle of the night you're not necessarily going to need all your trains running, so you can add in a depot and have only a few trains running perhaps, or even none at all. So and we'll set this other one on the route. So next thing we need to do is go back into our line, and we need to work out what we're going to price this as and the price per kilometre. Now I find this really difficult because this is the real challenge in terms of getting your pricing right, so it's not too expensive, that it drives customers away, but also setting up the intervals between the trains. So we can use this estimate time travels, and we can work out what our ideal speed is. So we can get a feel for it here, and we can get an idea of as to how long it takes to go from one end to the other, and it's roughly around sort of the, as you can see there, it's quite long, 35-minute mark. So I wonder if we can just, not 2,000 kilometers now, because that doesn't work. See, this is the bit that I really need to get a hold of. So if you haven't got any tips on this, give me a comment down in the comments down below, because it would be really helpful. The min interval between trains, I believe we can leave that probably at 25 minutes, given that, oh, that's not worked. That's really not worked. I don't know what's gone on here. Let's try and fix that. So we'll have that at 25 minutes. We'll also have this at 25 minutes. So hopefully it will space itself out nicely. The base price I think we'll start off, so we can either do price per kilometre, have a price per kilometre value, or we can have a base price. So I think for now, just because we're going between 2 stations, base price is probably most appropriate. And given that I have no idea in terms of where price will put us, we're going to start with 100, and then we can soon see whether we're picking up passengers or whether it's too expensive. But as you can see straight away, we've already had 2,000 passengers on the train. Obviously we were not taking fares at one point because obviously we still had that set at 0. But what you will see is if the price is too high, you will start refunding people. And also if you zoom in here, obviously we're at what is that, sort of 5 o'clock, so that's really peak commuter time, and the demand will reflect that, which is quite good. So there's absolute realism. So as you get into the later hours of the morning, your demand will drop off massively, which I love that sort of degree of realism. So that is really how you set up a basic line from point to point, and obviously over time you can start expanding that into further stations, adding more trains, and that's exactly what I intend to do. So I think, as I kind of mentioned earlier, my next ambition would be to perhaps look to branch off into Didcot, and we could pop a railway in there, and we've got the choice to go to north to Abingdon and Oxford, which I think would be a great addition. So guys, that concludes the very first look at NIMBY Rails. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, do give it a thumbs up by hitting that like button. Also hit subscribe because it really does make a difference to the channel. And I'll see you in the next NIMBY Rails episode. To then, bye bye.